In this session we're going to talk about multiplying in algebra. So the sort of thing we're talking about is how we'd multiply 3 by y, how we'd multiply x by x, how we'd multiply 2x by 3y, that sort of thing. So let's go through some of the basics first of all. 3 times by x means 3 lots of x. In maths, we don't normally bother writing the times sign between a number and a letter. So 3 times by y, we will often just write as 3y. So if I look at another one like that, 7 times by p, we would just write as 7p. So those two things are the same, those two things are the same as each other. Over here, we've got x times by x. Now it's very important your x's and your time signs look different. So I've done the curly x for an x and a straight cross for a time sign. X times by x, if you times something by itself, that's the same as squaring. So that's the same as x with a little 2 up there. X squared is how we read that out. If you'd had y times by y, that's the same as y squared. If you'd had t times by t times by another t, it wouldn't be t squared because there are 3 t's here multiplied together. That would be t cubed. Over here, 2x times by 3y. Well, if you times the numbers together, 2 times by 3 is 6. And then you've got to work out how do we write down the x times by y. We just write it down as xy without the multiplication sign in. So 6xy means 6 times x times y. And that's what we get from this one up here. So if we do another one, if we do 4t times by 3w, deal with the numbers first. 4 times by 3 is 12. And t times by w, we just write down as tw. So let's go on to some harder examples. If we've got 3y times by 4y, 3 times by 4 is 12. We've still got to do the y times by y. And from what we said earlier, y times by y is y squared. If we look at another one, 4t times by 5t squared. 4 times by 5 is 20. Then we've got to deal with these t's. I've got t times by t squared, which means t times by t squared, because those two times together are t squared. Well, that t times t times t is what we had up here. That's t cubed. So the t times by the t squared makes t cubed. Answer for that one, 20t cubed. Look at some more. We have a look at 2xy times by 3xt. So we're looking at this one. Let's do the number part of it first of all. 2 times by 3 is 6. Now we've got some letters here. We've got x's, y's and t's. Let's take them in alphabetical order. T's first of all. I've just got one t written down here. That's got to appear in my answer. The next letter will be x's. I've got an x here and it's being times by another x. X times by x is x squared. Y's, I've got one y here, no y's over there. Y has to appear in my answer. So my answer is 6t x squared y. Let's look at another one. 5t squared w times 4t w squared. Do it in the same way as we did the last one. First of all, do the numbers. 5 times by 4 is 20. Now the t's. T squared times by t. Well, that's what we had here. T squared and t. So that's going to give me a t cubed. And w times by w squared. That's w times by w times w, which is w cubed. Okay. So that's what we've got there. These things still work with minus numbers too. If I had minus 2y times by 3t, let's deal with the numbers first of all. Minus 2 times by 3 is minus 6. That's because 2 times by 3 is 6, and a minus times a plus is a minus. Now I've got to deal with the letters. Y times by t. Well, that's yt. Although normally we write them down in alphabetical order. So normally we'd write that as minus 6ty. Look at another one. Minus 3x times by minus 5x to the power of 4. Let's deal with the numbers first of all. Minus 3 times minus 3. That's minus 3 times by minus 5. The 3 times by the 5 is 15. And a minus times a minus makes a plus. So that's plus 15. Now I've got to deal with the x's. X times by x to the power of 4. That x to the power of 4 means x times x times x times x. 4x's multiplied together. There's another one here. So altogether it's 5x's multiplied together. And I'd write that as x to the power of 5. So when you're multiplying letters together in algebra, that's how to do it.